Okay, guys, welcome to this my SQL tutorial. SQL in full is the structured query language, and it's a powerful tool for managing and querying relational databases. You're going to learn how to interact with databases to extract, manipulate, analyze data efficiently. And in this case today, we are going to use a library, a sample library, where we are going to create a database called library, and we are going to create under library, we are going to create a table books, and we are going to input some data, and we shall see how to access the data inside the library database. So first thing first, after installing my SQL, you already have it. What you're going to type in your command prompt, if you're using Windows, if you're using a Mac like me here, you're going to use the terminal. And after that, after typing my SQL root P, it's going to request for the password. You are going to enter the password that you had set during the installation of MySQL, and after that you're going to start. You can expand the window so that it's visible, it's well visible. And the first thing you're going to do, you're going to create a database. Remember, SQL is claim sensitive, so you write create a database, and this database we are going to call it a library. Check the spelling, library. And because I had earlier created a library, you can give it any name. I will call it a library 1, and you press enter. One row has been affected, meaning that a database has been created. This is a create database. That is a command to create a database, and the name of the database here is the library. If you are dealing with a supermarket, you'll say maybe create database supermarket, the name that you decide. And now, after creating the database, make it active to ensure that all subsequent operations apply to it. And how do you do this? You have to write use library, the name of the database. In my case, it's library 1. So here you're just making it active to ensure that all subsequent operations apply to it. For doing that, put a semicolon and press enter. Database has been changed. Number 2 thing you're going to do, you're going now to start creating the tables. And in this case, you're going to create, check the spelling, create table. Now we want to create a table under our database library 1. Create the table, you want to give it the name books, and now in our case you want to have the book ID, the title, the author, and the price. Create, and you open the bracket. After opening the bracket, you can just press enter, and you start. The first thing you want to have is the book ID, and the book ID you want it to be an integer meaning you want it to be numbers, that is 1, 2, 3 going downwards. And I want it to be the primary key, that is the unique identifier of the books. This means that the books cannot share the primary key, and you're going to set the primary key, or rather the book ID, into auto increment, meaning every time you are inputting a new book, a new ID is assigned to that particular book in your database. So auto increment, comma. Then the next thing you're going to do, we want to give our book the title. To describe the title, we want it to be the character. Character in SQL, you write varchar, that is the character. And you must specify the number of characters you are interested with. In my case, I'm going to put 255. Close the bracket, put a comma, enter. The next thing we want to have maybe is the author of the book. The author of the book, we want it to be a character also, and the length should be 255. Again, put a comma. And the next thing you're going to have the price. The price, we're going to have the price, let it be decimal, because maybe if you are recording in dollars, is 20.95. So in decimal, you want it to be, let's say 10, and specify the number of decimal places. You close the bracket, and because here under the create table books we had open a bracket, so meaning you're going to close another bracket, and you're going to close your code by putting a semicolon. Press enter. It has been created. Now we want to insert data into our table books. We've already created a table under our database. The database is library 1. We already have a table called books. We now want to insert into books. So it is just direct the way I've said it. You're going to say insert into books. Books is the what you've created, and what do you want to insert? You want to insert your title, comma, your author, comma, under your price, close the bracket. Then you put enter, you say values, then you put enter, and you can open the bracket and say you want to put in this order: the title, the author, and the price, as we indicated under the when we were creating our books table. And we've not included the book ID because it's going to be an auto increment, so SQL is going to be inputting it automatically. So the values, maybe the first time you must put it in quotes. So let's say the first book is called The Art of SQL. Art of SQL, that is the name of the book. You put a comma. The author, let's call him John Doe. That name is very common, John Doe. Then you put a comma space. You put the price of the book. We assume the price is not a must, you put them in quote. So the price of the book, in this case we shall assume is 30.50. Close the bracket, put a comma, press enter. Again, open the bracket. You want to put the other entry, and now the name of this book is called SQL Beginner. SQL Beginners. Close, put a comma, space. The name of the author, in this case now we're going to say, let's use James Smith. The name is also common. Then put a comma, space, and you can say maybe the price is 20.00. You must put in 2 decimal places because you specified here when you are describing. Put a comma, go to the next line. Let us put our last book. You can put as many entries as possible. Now this one, let us call it mastering maybe SQL. Close, put a comma, space. The author of the book is called, let's call him Alice Brown, comma, and the price of the book maybe is 45.00. Close the bracket. After closing the last bracket, you can close your code by putting a semicolon, and now you can press enter. You can see 3 rows are affected. So records are 3, we have no duplicates, we have no warnings. Now we want to see if your database was created. If you want to check if your database was created, you can write this command, show databases, put a semicolon, and then press enter. You will see here we have library 1, we have the information schema, we have the MySQL performance schema, and the SYS, which is the system. These ones are default databases in MySQL. Now in our case, we've created the library 1. You can see it from here. And after switching to the library, let's ensure the books table exists. So the next thing you're going to do, we want now to use my library 1, the one we created. So you can say use library 1, because that is what we created. Okay, then the next thing we can say, you've already used it. The next thing you can say, show tables. We want to see if you have any tables, and you can see the table that we created was the books table here, and now it is under the table in library 1. We have the books. So we've already created a table, and we want to check, if you want to check the design of the books table to confirm the schema, you can say also the way you just, here we've shown the tables. The next thing you can do, we already confirmed we have the books table. You can say describe books. That is what we created. We want to see the schema of this table. So after writing describe books, put a semicolon, press enter. You can see we have the field, you have the book ID, the title, the author, and the price. The type, each entry is described over here. And a null, no. This one is a no because null means that it can't be repeated, it should be unique. And a key, we have the primary key only, which is the book ID that we set, and that is it. And our extra, we set it into the auto increment. Now if you want to view the data, in your books table, because there are some data from insert into books, we were inserting some data inside here. If you want to see the data, you are going to write select all. Now in SQL, you're not going to write all, you write star select all from books. Now that is your table. Then if you press enter, you can see we have three entries, the one inputted. The first one is the out of SQL, is the title of the book. We have the author and the price of the books. So that is how simple you can create a database and try to see like what is really happening. How is it really happening? So now the next thing I'm going to show you is the basic SQL queries. And now in this case, I was teaching you how to use the select all, but now if you are told to select a specific entry, for example, you are only interested to know the title of the books only. You don't want to generate the author and the price. You're going to use this command. You can say select title, comma, okay, maybe you want to see the title and the author. Select title. You are not interested with the price now. Author. Then you say from books. Then you put a semicolon. If you press enter, you can see the title and the author. The price column has been assumed. Now we have the title and the author. And now we can also, I want also how to teach you how to filter data with where. Where is a data that meets a certain criteria. For example, I want us to retrieve books with a price greater than $20. It is greater, assume this price is in dollars. We want to retrieve books that only meet a certain criteria. That's why you're going to use the where. Books that only are above $20. Now you're going to say select title, comma, and a price from books where price is greater than, you put the greater than mark and say 20. If you put a semicolon and press enter, you can see we have the art of SQL, which is $30, and the mastering SQL, which is $45. The SQL beginners book has been assumed because it costs $20, but our criteria will say books that only are above $20. I want to show you how to do some data manipulation whereby you can insert data. Now in this case, we've created the books table, and inside the books table you have three entries. You have number 1, number 2, and number 3 books only. And maybe you want to add other entries. What are you going to do? Maybe we want to add a new book, and the new book maybe is let's call it Python programming. So if you want to add a new entry, what you're going to do, you say insert. It's very simple. Insert into books. You want to insert into the books table a new entry, and you must say the format. The way you are just inserting here, the way you are inserting over here, insert into books, then you say title, author, and price. The same is going to apply here. Open the bracket and say title, author, price, and you can close your bracket, press enter, and you can say values. These are the values that you want to input. Values, open your bracket, put in a quotation mark, and say, I say the book maybe it's called the Python, that is Python programming, that is Python programming, close the quotation, put a comma, and at the out of the book, in this case it's Matthew Shem, then close, then the price of this book is 30, close, and say, put a semicolon to close your code, press enter. You can see query 1 row has been affected, so meaning you've added that entry inside the books. We can confirm that we've added it. And how can you confirm? You can confirm by checking. You can say select again, select what? All from what? From the books table that we created. And if you check, you have the Python programming as number 4, it's been added. The next thing we can do is updating data. Let's say we want to change the price of a specific book. You can see here the Art of SQL, it costs $30, but we want to change it into $25. So here you're going to use the update function. You will say update what you want to update books, and then set, you want now to set what? You set the price is equals to 25. Then you must specify your criteria, where I told you where you use where criteria should be specified, where title is equals to art of SQL. You close, and after that you put a semicolon to close your code and press enter. One changed row, and you can confirm that you have updated your data by saying select. It's scan sensitive, so you write select all from what? From books, and you will see that the price of the Art of SQL, here is it has been changed from 30 to 25. The next thing you can do is deleting data. Say for example you want to remove all the books that were written by John Doe. So in this case you're going to use the delete function. You are going to say delete from what? From books, that is the table. You want to delete from the table books. Delete from tables. You specify the criteria where you want to delete all books written by the author called John Doe, where author is equals to, put in quotation, John Doe. You close the quotation and put a semicolon, enter. One row has been affected. If you are going to confirm, again select all from books, semicolon. You're going to see that we no longer have John Doe here. We have deleted all the books. For example, if you had 10 books written by John Doe, all those books will have been deleted. The next thing we can do is aggregation, and I want to show you how to do aggregation and grouping. Maybe we want to count the number of books in the database. How are you going to do? You are going also to select, because you must select all the book. Then you, after selecting, you count. Put this one and put a star. That is like select, count all. From where? From books. You want to count all books. Then put a semicolon. If you press enter, it's 3. The count is going to be brought as 3. And you want to calculate the average book price. The average book price, it is just normal how we usually calculate the average book price. You will say select AVG, that is the short form of average in SQL, and I want to calculate the average of the price. And then you say from where? From the books table. You've already specified that you want to calculate the average of the price. Press enter. You'll see. Just a minute, you have an error in your check the manual that. So here, in this case, it is bringing an error because sometimes you're going to, it varies according to which SQL version you are using. So you can see the error says you have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to your MySQL server. So if such an error occurs, you have to check like your SQL uses which types of what is the version of your SQL, because these codes keep on changing. Maybe in some cases you may want to find the total price of books by each author. For example, we have an author. We have Jane Smith here, who wrote a book by the title SQL Beginners, and now we assume that in this case we only have 3 entries, that is from the count. We assume now that we had Jane Smith writing 10 books, and I want to calculate the total price of books written by each author. So there you're going also just to write select. The first thing you're going to do, you're going to select author, and then you sum the price from books grouped by that particular author. The next thing you can do, you are going to, we have something called the joining the tables. For example, we had the books here, books table, and we had the publishers tables. So We have several types of joins in SQL. We have the inner joins, we have the outer joins, the right join and the full join. So if you have two tables and you want to combine the two tables, I'm going to do a video on that, and I will also post it here so that you can see how to do joins in SQL. At this point, I want to encourage you to visit our course. We have a course in SQL. So if you go to your search engine, you can just search StatQuestJourney. If you press enter, we have our courses that have been posted over here. We have courses under the data science category. We have courses under the data analysis, programming, SQL, data visualization, Excel, computer packages, and statistical softwares. So for example, if you want to learn more about SQL, if you click on SQL, you will be able to see that the intake is ongoing, and it will only cost you 6,000 Kenya shillings, and you can pay the school fees in 3 installments. And you are going to have the course details, what is SQL, you have an explanation to that, and you have the course overview. These are the modules that you're going to learn. The first module, you're going to learn Introduction to SQL, Data Science with SQL. You have the full SQL course, just as an overview, SQL for data engineering, SQL for big data, and all that up to the last module, which is the specialization module. In this case, it is optional. As well, you can go back and you see all the type of courses we have. We have Excel related courses for data analysis. We have the data science related courses, data visualization related courses, where you are going to learn how to use Power BI, Tableau, and all that. So feel free to visit our website and see the courses. Feel free to contact us. You can consult us. We are always open and ready to serve. Thank you. And I'm going to do a video on joins in SQL.